Charles here locally in the community. Make sure y'all go check out Kneecap Bodies by Jeremy Smokin.
Good morning. It's Lions Talk with Smokin, Jeremy B, and Von Doom Lenner. How's everybody doing today? We got Fred Peterson, Henry Gray, King SJ, and Dwayne Keene all in the chat. Yes, we are 12-5. Yes, we are the NFC champs. And yes, we are going to the NFC championship game. Travel day is either tonight or first thing in the morning, with the rest day tomorrow to prepare for the Sunday night game. And some interesting news came out from out there in California. A beat writer interviewed John Lynch and then gave his opinion on it. And he thinks that Deebo Samuel is not going to be a go. He After what he heard from John Lynch, he goes, "Yeah, he hasn't practiced." He specifically asked about the range of motion in that shoulder, and John Lynch skirted around it. Kurt Steele in the house. What's up, my brother? And just
Good
think,
morning, everybody.
we play on the 28th. And January 29th, when I do my post game show, it's more than a post game show. Matter of fact, it's not even going to be the post game show. It's the second anniversary of kneecap biting with the Motor City Lions. 2 years to the day I've been doing this, and it's my 1000th episode. This 5 a day plus the 3 nights I've always been doing has increased my numbers just a little bit for episodes. Yep, and there was a video of Demo running, and he apparently he looked stiff, and it's been an amazing run. Thank you to everybody in the chat. Thank you to all the fans that have checked out. Don't forget to go over, like, subscribe, and share. If you're on Facebook, uh, make sure you follow my page, the Motor City Kneecap Biters, and of course, Russell's page, the Lions Villain Squad, and of course, the podcast that got me started. The page still exists. The show lives on YouTube, but it isn't running currently. That's Detroit Lions on the Prowl, where I met the great Kurt Steele, Jim Bordeaux. I met Mark Oram, Mike Timber, Dosa Dion, Anthony from Roar of the Lions UK. So Monday will be my 1000th show, and that's because this is $9.98 tonight when I do the Lions pregame show. It's $9.99. Thank you so much, everybody. Susan Schultz, a Facebook user. This one is for Jim, and I'm so proud of you, Jeremy. I'm thinking that's Valerie myself, that or it's Mickey. And it's been an amazing run. And who'd have thought in 2021, with a team that was stripped to the studs, won 3 games and a tie out of 17 games, we'd be sitting right where we are this year. And you know who called it out? Valerie Bordeaux. Thank you, Henry. And I thought so. Yeah, because you've always been on the shows. You are not usually in the comments. You forgot to click the link above the video. He says, "It's me, the Queen of the Prowl."
That just sounds really cool. Queen of the Prowl.
Well, Jim was the king. She was the queen. And she'll always be the Queen of the Prowl.
I know it is still going to always be a cool name.
It has been amazing, the growth that I've seen on our Facebook pages, in the growth of our YouTube channels, and the amount of interaction. Yeah, it doesn't show on Restream though. I'll show you, Miss Queen of the Prowl. You are a Facebook user.
You may be the queen of the prowl, but today you are Facebook using.
You have to accept that it uses your picture and your profile name. Just like you used to tell people when you were watching the show. I bet 100 on them to win the Super Bowl last year. High vibrations up for this team. Nationwide love. That, speaking of which,
What were the
the
odds
Ra-
of that, Shane?
I'll go over to YouTube. Fantastic. You know, I just love this run we've been on, and let's keep it going. I do think this is the best chance the Lions have had in my lifetime to make it to the one game they've never made it, and I want to see it. I want it so bad I can taste it. Am I going to be disappointed if they don't make it? Of course. Am I going to be disappointed in the season? Absolutely not. 25 to 1 odds is what Shane Dennis all thinks. Yep, YouTube is much better, runs much smoother, and also doesn't have as much of a lag as it does through Facebook because it goes straight to YouTube, then it goes back to the servers and back out to Facebook. So it goes back and forth. Ah, there she is, the Queen of the Brawl. It would have been a 12,500 total payout. Man, just remember, it costs nothing to hit that like button, a heart, a reaction of some sort on Facebook. The keys to this game, and I'm gonna give it right now. The keys to this game is run the ball, control the trench, control the time of possession. And that's what we've been doing. We have not yet trailed at any point in any game since the playoffs began. Not 1 minute versus the Rams, not 1 minute versus the Bucks, and I hope they start out the exact same way. San Francisco, if they're smart, if they win the toss, they might want to receive because nobody likes giving the Lions the ball first anymore.
Hey man, I like the other team having the ball first personally. I like having it in the second half when it matters.
I understand that, but there's been a mentality that Dan Campbell said we're accepting it. Yeah, no turnovers. Win the turnover battle. You can have a turnover as long as it's not in a key moment. Look at the Packers. They went turnover free for 3.5 quarters of football. They threw the first one, it turned into points. Now their lead is diminished. They had to punt. That turned into points. Then Jordan Love made the stupidest throw that a quarterback can make, and that's because he's a first-year starter. Man, we got a lot of people in chat. Matthew Reniker, Shane Deshaw, Charles Muncachi. Is that right? Fred Peterson, Valerie Bordeaux, King SJ, all of you are here. It's great. Um, man, Raheem Morris was picked up by the Falcons last night. What do you think about that, Leonard?
I love Raheem Morris. I liked him when he was freaking the head coach of the Buccaneers, even. But my issue with that is the Falcons are already a good defensive team. They needed an offensive coach, someone to help develop Desmond Ritter or draft a quarterback, and to be able to get more out of Kyle Pitts and Drake London. So it doesn't really make sense to me why they went defensive minded.
Hey, at least now Kyle Pitts can say he has a touchdown on 2 continents. He finally caught one in America last year. His only touchdown before was when they were in London the year before.
I
3
know.
years and 2 touchdowns.
They don't use him right. When it comes down to the red zone, like they just stop throwing the goddamn ball. You've got two guys that are like 6'6", should be great red zone guys. But no, let's just pound the ball.
Nope. You know what it is? He's related to Julio Jones some way. Allergic to the
probably
red,
is.
allergic to the end zone. His hands probably swell up like balloons, and he drops the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, shutting. I want the Lions to get the ball first. Getting the ball in the third, we have seen a number of times where we go nowhere. The third quarter is a problem. If we can get the ball early and score, it's going to help. Shutting the fans up early and getting the momentum in the Lions fair. Yeah, shitting the fans up. I like that better. Everybody aim. Oh, I think the Lions can pull off the upset in San Francisco too. And how great would that be? Because back then the NFL was basically the NFC. In 1957, we beat them in their house to go to the World Championship. Let's do it again. And it
Down is just another down.
is the Dan Campbell, depending on the situation. He's proven to be very situational on when he goes for the fourth down. It's a key moment to extend a drive. How many Lions have butterflies or bubble guts at this time? Be honest now. I don't have any bubble guts. I just want to see a good game. I I have no expectations for once in my life.
You know, the whole Dan Campbell thing, this year he has been a lot better on the fourth down, saying, hey, we're not just going for it for 4th and 30 in the middle of the first quarter. I'll give him that. He's definitely been better about that. Last year, he was a little more balls and brains on that. This year, he seems like he got it dialed in a lot better.
And look at it this way. The Packers the Packers lost that game. The 49ers didn't win it.
Correct.
That was an
Let me say this, too, about the Packers. As much as we all like to shit on them and say FTP and fuck the Packers and all that,
they had
Jordan
a
Love
great
quietly had a great season.
he did. I he exceeded what I expected out of him. But at the same time, I said he'd improve midseason just by playing as a starter.
Mm-hmm.
And Steve says Jeremy is always a straight up honest guy, and that what makes him too legit to quit. Thank you, Steve. Steve is real. Yeah. Because he is an LA Knight fan.
Hello, dummy. Hello.
Lions have rookie power. Yeah, four of the Lions rookies have made the first all rookie team. When's the last time you can say that about a Lions team? Does anybody know?
1902.
It wasn't that long. We weren't even a team then. Christy Holst said, "Go Lions all the way." But slowly, America's team is becoming the Detroit Lions. If you actually look at who people are rooting for, over 40% of America is rooting for the Detroit Lions to win this Sunday. Everybody in California, of course, is not. Fred Peterson says, Steve, I'm so pumped for the game. I am nervous, but I am for every game. I have always been nervous for every game, even when I played ball. The nerves calm just before the game. Shane Denzelaw says, I was in Vegas on December 18th, 2022. I was wearing my Lions hoodie around town, and I was never approached by so many people about the Lions. It was amazing. And the rookies aren't scared. I watched a reel by Greg Report. Oh, I do draft talk as soon as our season's over. You can ask Valerie Bordeaux, Kurt Steele, Dan Lenner. I do deep dives into watching game film, not just highlight reels, and I make good assessments. I'm giving good scouting. And Dan was there when he thought that I had a crystal ball or a computer telling me the draft picks before I announced it one year.
I'm telling you, you had somebody on site feeding you information before Goodell got it.
What did I get? 7 wrong in the 2 rounds of day 2 years ago?
Yeah, it was some bullshit.
No, some bullshit.
Dude, Luke Gadecki. Nobody thought that. Nobody even knew who the hell that guy was. He pulled that one right out of his ass. Boom. Luke Gadecki.
I said Luke Gadecki, Central Michigan University, the guy that made Bernard Raymond so good. Is that not what I said?
See, look right there. Val just put you on blast. She was feeding you the info.
She was not.
I'm gonna listen to her. She was feeding you the info.
And then the year before the first round, I think I got what 7 wrong the whole first round.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, it was And Big Dan Davis comes in. We definitely can beat San Francisco just so long as everything goes right. Limit the turnovers offensively. Pass rush get to the QB. I'm not worried about the deep ball. They don't throw deep too much. Yeah, because you know what? If you look statistically and how far they've completed passes this year in the air, Brock Purdy is Jared Goff, but a younger version, and makes more mistakes when pressured.
At a much cheaper price.
Oh yeah, was the last pick in the draft. I think he makes less than 700,000 a year. Uh, Fred Peterson, personally, when I played, my nerves would turn into a bottled up rage. I also played kickoff and kick return. I was always amped up to get out there and smack someone, and my game would smooth out.
Okay.
Steve says,
I can get
Fred, when
behind
I
that, Fred.
played ball, I wanted to get hit so hard because after that hit, I was on and I was like, let's fucking go. I like it. And golf is calm. You know, everybody says, oh, and Goff gets rattled when he's pressured. He hasn't done that at all this playoffs. He's been sacked, what is it, a total of 6 times now in the 2 games? And pressured on, I think, another 10 situations, hit 4 times on top of that. And he hasn't made those crucial mistakes we saw in the middle of the season. Why? They're coverage sacks. The guys aren't open. He doesn't throw it into coverage when he's calm. And he's been very calm these playoffs. This is probably the calmest I've seen Jared Goff all year. And it's scary calm. Like he just developed that ice in his veins. And I think it's because he's been here before. He went through the year where he had the yips. You know what I'm saying? Where he threw a shitload of bad passes when he was with the Rams. But at the same time, Goff did not lose the Super Bowl. Brandon Cooks, Josh Reynolds, and Gerald Everett, the tight end. That's who lost that Super Bowl. All 3 of them dropped key passes that would have been touchdowns or first downs.
No, I disagree with you 100% on this. It was not any of those 3. It was Steven Jackson and his 50-year-old knees.
Steven Jackson wasn't the running back, was he?
Yes, he was.
Oh, that's right, because Gurley was hurt. C.J. Anderson got hurt.
No,
And
no,
then
Todd Gurley. Yes, you're right. Todd Gurley.
Todd Gurley had 39 yards in the first quarter and then went down and got hurt. Then C.J. Anderson went down and got hurt.
It was Todd Gurley and the 50-year-old knees.
The question to Jeremy is, why is it being said that Ben Johnson is headed to Washington? Washington canceled all interviews after satisfying the Rooney Rule after doing the first interview with Ben Johnson, and they were supposed to do the other one on Monday, and they postponed it until the Lions are out of the playoffs or after the Super Bowl, is what they said. So they are the favorite. Magic Johnson has talked about it in an interview already as a part owner of the team. And Shane Denslow says, as a Lions fan, you can't get hurt more than we have already been hurt.
Yes, you can. You could
And
have
you know
Geno
what?
Smith step in and break a streak.
Shh. That's the Seahawks. And
He did it to the Giants and broke Eli's streak.
rumor is Seattle is where AEG goes now because they just canceled all talks with Dan Quinn.
What?
Seattle canceled all talks with Dan Quinn.
I thought that was a freaking lock. That's where he was going.
Yeah, that's what everybody said, even Vegas. But even they're wrong at times. They were wrong about who was going to Atlanta. They said it was Rabel.
I agree in that Belichick just didn't get it because not the CEO, but the GM, Rich McKay, they couldn't coexist.
They canceled the talks with Quinn last night, is the report I saw from a local TV station, King 5 out of Seattle. They would know. Something happened and they canceled it. It didn't say postpone, it said canceled. Those are key words. So actually, the rumor is he's taking Hank Fraley as his offensive coordinator. That came out per Tom Pellisario and Ian Rappaport on First Take. So I think there's a little validity to that. I don't know who wrote with AG. I just hope it isn't Kelvin Shepard. That is my prediction exactly, Charles Muncachi. Lions 27, 49ers 24, run game and defense win games. I don't hate you for saying it. I think they need a defensive coach. They've had an offensive coach now for a while, and they need a defensive coach to take over out there because the offense isn't horrible. It's a quarterback away from being great. That's just my opinion. And I got the Lions winning. I think Tanner Engstrom might go with AG because he studied under Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson is going to be the offensive play caller where he goes. I don't think he's going to take somebody to take the job away from him. I think he's going to hire a competent defensive coordinator to assist him.
Makes sense to me there.
And that's
JB,
why I think. Okay, go ahead.
Here, random fact of the day. Out of the 6 coaching positions that have been filled already, 4 of them are minority candidates.
Yes, sir.
Like the most all time in one season.
Yep.
I like the way we're moving here.
I do like it too. And Pat McAfee was saying yesterday, Campbell looks like the next coaching tree. And you know what else? What coaching tree does he fall under? Sean Payton. Sean Payton falls under who, Lenner?
Rex Ryan.
It is all a stem off of the Rex Ryan coaching tree.
And I low-key hope that if Ben Johnson gets the Washington job, that he is the fucking first branch that falls off and is horrible.
Stop. I know you're a Lions fan. Yeah, I think Lions win straight up. I think they're going to win 27-24 because the 49ers are going to drive down to tie and Moody's going to shank it to the right from 52 yards.
Isn't he a Lions fan anyway, Moody?
He is.
He misses it on purpose. That'd be great. Be like, nah, sorry. After game, what happened? Be like, nah, man. They just
Hey, we
deserve it.
got our first like live on Twitter, everybody. Thank you, Mock Draft Guy. So I am everywhere.
Rex Ryan never won anything, right? He went to a couple AFC Championship games in a row with the Jets. He's won Super Bowls as a defensive coordinator, but nothing great. Like he didn't win as a head coach or anything like that.
Right. What Rex Ryan was a great defensive coordinator and a motivator of men. He never really had the talent he needed for his team to survive. I mean, I think when he was there, who was his best quarterback? Chad Pennington?
I don't think he even had Pennington, did he?
No, it was prior to butt fumble.
Oh.
And a lot of people have overread into the whole thing about Rex coming to talk to Dan Campbell. It was for his interview for First Take or whatever show he's on ESPN. But I do absolutely love the fact that after every Lions win, when he's on the set, he walks in Honolulu blue from head to toe with a nice 3-piece suit, the tie with a little silver to it. Have you guys noticed this? It's every time the Lions win, he wears that in. He's the only one that's picked the Lions for both playoff games. Dan Orlovsky even didn't do it. Ian Rappaport reports yesterday that Dan Quinn is getting a second in person with the Commanders scheduled for next week. It's safe to say their short list is Ben Johnson and Dan Quinn. Someone tried to compare Dan with Bill Parcell and Charlie Weiss. Oof.
Ooh, that's
Nope,
interesting.
Sean Payton actually had his start under Rex Ryan, then went to Bill Parcells.
JB,
So
on
yeah,
what Big Dan's saying there about Ben Johnson and Dan Quinn,
yep.
I really like Dan Quinn. Everybody should know that by now. But he's definitely not what Washington needs. They
They
need
need an
somebody out there that can develop a quarterback.
Yep. And I wonder if Coach Brew goes with Ben Johnson. I heard they've got a really good rapport.
I wish they could hire these coaches that were playing for in the Super Bowl and the playoffs already, though, just so that the team that they're on could take steps to replace them if they're going to be gone. You know what I mean? And still have the same talent pool of coaches to pick from.
Oh yeah. And also start to incorporate JMO more into the passing game. No, it doesn't have to be a fly route or a deep route. JMO's actually adept at running slants and crossing patterns and post ins and post outs. So you don't always have to just put him in the fly and pray to God Goff gets it there.
I would still do that just so that they worry about him every single play.
Do it twice a quarter to make the safeties play deep. 100%. Oh, Chris Jizzy. What a name. Okay, Steve, I'm also glad we fired Chris Gizzy, the strength and conditioning coach for the Packers. And that's one thing you can say that the Lions did right. The medical staff and the strength and conditioning coach that we have in now, they haven't let anybody play too early. We haven't let anybody into a game where they have a more than a 15% chance of injuring themselves, and I like that. JMO making tough catches in traffic is like opening up a new cheat code. Yeah, and he is. You realize he hasn't had a drop since his third game? Sam the
I
no,
didn't really.
it's Sam Laporta Potty because he shits on defenses everywhere, guys. Uh, James Houston plays Sunday night. Yes, sir. 100%. He's been a full go at practice all week. There's no reason to hold him back. Unleash him. Let him go like the dog he is. And I think he should go at left tackle Trent Williams because Trent Williams plays upright. He likes to play upright and shove people away. And James Houston's bend and speed and first step would be a huge advantage over Trent Williams. That way you keep Aiden Hutchinson over there on that revolving door at right tackle.
Oh, absolutely.
And I would only use them 2 snaps each step. If it's second and long, they're going to be passing. If it's third and long, they're going to be passing. That's when James Houston in. Other than that, it should be either Charles Harris, John Kaminsky, Josh Pascal. That's just my opinion. Because if it's anything more than a long or anything less than a long, they're going to be running that ball with CMC, and you're going to need your big run stoppers in there. And Houston and Hutchinson. Hutchinson's gotten better of late at stopping the run behind the line and making hits to slow people down so the other people can catch up and stop them. But James Houston hasn't played all year and had a tendency to over pursue in the run game. I'm really hoping we get Johnny Holland from the Niners as our DC. He was a linebacker coach for the Packers at one time. Pressure is just for tires and QBs that you want to throw picks. And speaking of tires, I do work for a tire shop. I'm actually a manager of one, so I know all about tires.
JB loves him some tires.
Hey, it makes me money. Matter of fact, I want to get a shout out to the place I work, Brandon's Tire, right here in Flint, Michigan, at the border of Grand Traverse and Atherton. We sell used tires at a great price and great prices on new tires too. Come on in and check us out, 810-233-8230. Still waiting on iffy spear move he did in college. I thought he did that on his first sack. Troy Torrey, it all starts in the trenches. D line and O line, they need to do their jobs. D line pressures Purdy, the Niners are done. Stop the run and score touchdowns running the ball. Offense will show up. Offense will score points. Lions D needs to play smart and just be physical. If the Lions run the ball, which they will, Goff will be fine. Goff has the experience. As a matter of fact, Kyle Shanahan said that in his presser the other day about when he was asked about our cornerbacks and how they give up a lot of yards. He goes, "You guys see things differently. They've given up the least amount of they've had the most amount of passes defended in the playoffs so far, and they also are playing the most aggressive, which is why they're leading in turnovers forced right now as a secondary. Everybody's seeing it. You know, we're looking at it through the blinders of what we see on TV, but go look at the stat lines. We have not given anybody over 100 yards other than one guy every game, and he gets one touchdown. There's a reason for that. It's by design. They're putting Cam Sutton out there because they know he's not the fastest guy, but he's our best corner. As long as he stays on his feet, he makes a play. Does he trip over his own feet? Does he fall down? Yes. And that's when he gets burnt. That's what I've seen. But everybody else is bracketing together. A safety in the bend, don't break. That's right, because once we get to that end zone, once they get in the red zone in that 20, we are not giving up touchdowns. That's the biggest thing because they're playing that zone. The zone tightens up when you have less than 20 yards to cover. The safeties are able to cheat up more and not be out of position. Yep. And Shannon said the Lions are number 2 in takeaways due to QB pressures. We're very aggressive on that front line. And you throw in a safety blitz, throw in a corner blitz, throw in a linebacker blitz in there, and we're getting there. We may not get the sacks, but we get the pressures, and that rattles a quarterback. It's huge. And currently, the kneecap biting with Motor City Lions, we're sitting at 373 subscribers. So please go on over, hit that subscribe, like, and share. Lions Villain Squad, they're growing too. They're at 632 on the main event 365. The Villain Squad itself is over 30,000 Lions fans. And I'm proud to be a part of it. And that's where a lot of you guys are commenting from, I see. We got 7 on each Lions channel and 14 watching in the Villain Squad. That's amazing. That's awesome. That pretty much is the news. Tonight I will be doing my in detail post game show where we'll do a matchup of the stats and see who's who, what's what, and what's going on, and give the keys to the game, the key stats that you need to know going into it, and our score predictions. I mean, I've said it already. We've all said it. Go Lions, one pride. I saw talks on another podcast that Arizona wants Jair Alexander would give Packers the 27th pick or the 35th pick for him. It'll be the 27th, and the reason why it's the 35th is they don't have the top 3 pick because the Texans own it because they traded it to them in that trade to move last year. So yeah, it'd be the 27th pick from the Texans. Is what Arizona would be giving up. How about the Texans this year? Talk about a good team. They did a
Good.
lot of things great this year.
You get a good coach and a good quarterback, special things can happen.
Yep. And a couple good receivers. One they had on the team, he just had bad quarterbacks, and the other one they drafted.
Yeah, and then for some reason they put him in there to freaking block and broke his freaking leg.
Well, it's kind of like putting James Houston in coverage and allowing him to twist his ankle before he goes out on special teams and actually break it.
Yeah, exactly. But it's a little different though, because James Houston's still a big dude. Tank Dell's like 5'8", 120 pounds. There's no need to have him in the middle of a pile at the goal line.
Brent DeWitt says someplace on the west side got busted for selling fake Lions jerseys. Tisk tisk. Verily Bordeaux says I brought my luck to them moving down here because she now lives in Texas. I think you gave the Lions luck moving down there too. Just kidding, Val. We know how much you love us. Almost as much as you love your own team.
The Cowboys.
The Bears.
Ugh.
She's from Chicago. Can't blame her.
Ugh. Yes, you
You're
can.
a fan of where you're born.
Bears haven't been good since the year I was born.
Yeah, Sewell is the best in the league. And the only tackle in the playoffs right now that has yet to give up a sack, and it's not named Sewell, it's Taylor Decker. Did anybody see that one coming? Michael
Nope.
Hook says Val is slowly coming over. Don't hug me. Okay, I'm sorry. I can't help you're from Chicago. Or Illinois, at least. Well, it's been a great show, everybody. Got to give a shout out to my sponsor, Lost in the Ground. Where I got a picture up here. Best window tinter in Saginaw and the Tri-Cities. Give them a call to schedule your appointment for either window tinting or auto detailing. It's 989-443-9240. Check them out. Does great work, especially the C-Class. Go back to the chat. Some couple comments just came through. I just want to see my Lions fam happy at Michael Huck. I've been watching the Lions for 50 years. The rookies on this team don't have that frustration. And Shane Denzela said, thanks, guys. Good show. Thank you very much for tuning in. We had a lot of viewers today. I saw at one point we were up at 48, and that's a record high for my show outside of the draft show. And yes, once the season is done and the Super Bowl's over, we do one show a week, pretty much dedicated to talking about college draft prospects. The 2 weeks prior to the draft, we do a couple of mock draft shows. And then we do draft coverage for the entire draft. I take the time off work. I do it. I love doing it. And what is it? 24 hours of coverage or 21 hours, something like that, Leonard, that we do.
Yeah, it was a lot. I
You're
love the
tired
draft
after
talk though.
2 days, but I love it. And who knows if everything goes right and my press credentials are approved, it's just whether or not I get to go. I could be sitting on media row at the draft and doing it live. How crazy is that? Let's fucking go. Big Dan Davis, love the show. Busting balls. Hopefully we bust the 49ers ass Sunday night. Go Lions. Let's all enjoy this. Yes, Michael Huck. I know. I know how everybody says. And Val says, so proud of you, Jeremy. Won't be able to watch you later because I have to help babysit, but keep up the good work and nice to meet you, Von Doom. And I'm going to end my show the way I end every one of my shows personally. Try every day to be a better person than you were the day before. That's the only way to make the world a better place. It starts within here, your heart. Much love, everybody. Peace, love, and chicken grease. Your turn, Leonard.